Fantasy football season is rapidly approaching. That's why in this video, we're talking about 5 wide receivers who I think are going to win leagues this year, starting with Marvin Harrison Jr., who had a letdown rookie year based on where you drafted him. His ADP was an early round 2 pick. He didn't give you that return that you were looking for. I get it. But looking at the numbers here on the screen, he didn't have that bad of a season. 62 receptions, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns, 11.6 fantasy points per game. Not great, but if you take a look at this chart here, comparing some stud receivers in the league right now, what they did their rookie year, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know he got scorching hot at the end of his first year, 90 receptions, 912 yards. But outside of that, none of these numbers really jump off the screen. So not every receiver can have a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase type of rookie year. I'm not concerned about Marvin Harrison Jr. whatsoever. And I think some of the blame has to go on Kyler Murray. He was not great last year. Granted, Marvin looked like a rookie out there. Like, some of his routes were not crisp. They weren't great, but still, he had 45 uncatchable targets, which was the most by any receiver last year. At the end of the day, I'm still a Kyler believer. I think that these two guys are going to get on the same page. They have an entire offseason to build that timing, to build that rapport, something that was lacking in year one, and rightfully so. Harrison was a rookie at the end of the day. So, like I said, not too worried. Take a look at this picture of Harrison. He put on some serious size and muscle, which can only be a good thing because his yards after the catch, his tackle breaking ability in his rookie year were not great. So I think with some of this new size on him, that might be a different story. At the end of the day, his dad is Marvin Harrison. He comes from a good bloodline. I'm expecting a big year, and I love his ADP at the end of round 3, maybe an early 4th round pick, depending on your league size. That is much better than it was last year. So give me Harrison at that cost every single day of the week. I think he's incredible value at that spot. On to the next guy, Jameson Williams, who finally had that breakout campaign in year 3. We know he was a first-round draft pick when he came into the league, tore his ACL. Took a while for him to kind of get back into it, but we finally saw what we've all been waiting for last season. Take a look at the numbers. 58 receptions. He just got over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 14.1 fantasy points per game. And he averaged 15.8 fantasy points from weeks 10 to 18. He was a wide receiver 22 in fantasy. He was 3rd in yards after catch per reception. We know the type of player that J-Mo is. He's that deep ball threat. If you're looking for a 60-yard touchdown, he is your guy. He also had 3 top 6 finishes. We like to see that. And we know Ben Johnson, he departs as offensive coordinator after 3 years in that role. We know he was with the Lions for 6 years, but insert John Morton as the new offensive coordinator coming over from Denver. What did we notice from the Broncos last year and Bo Nix? They aired out the ball. They love to chuck it deep. That's something that we like because that paired with J-Mo could mean a huge fantasy season. I think they're going to take a lot more shots downfield than they ever have before. And Morton has already come out and said publicly that he thinks J-Mo is going to have this huge year. And while that could just be coach speak, I'm reading into it a little bit. Like, it's not nothing either. I'd rather hear positive things about a player that I like this time of the year than negative things. And over the final 8 weeks of the regular season, from week 10 on, you can see how close J-Mo's targets compared to Amon-Ra St. Brown and target per route run rate. Yes, St. Brown dominated in most categories, as you can see here, but 20% target share for Jameson, 26% target share for Amon-Ra, 20% targets per route run compared to 24%. So it was kind of inching a little bit closer. And if you really watch those games, it kind of seemed like that offense was quietly running through Williams. I'm not saying that Amon-Ra is going to be phased out, but if I'm choosing between these two guys in fantasy this year, give me the cheaper guy. You can get Jameson Williams probably in your home league in round 5, round 6. That's right around where he's going on Sleeper right now. So I really like Williams. I think he builds on a strong year 3. Moving on to the next guy, Ladd McConkey. Talk about a rookie who had a phenomenal first year that a lot of people probably didn't see coming. I mean, these numbers are incredible, especially where you drafted him. I think he was one of the biggest steals in fantasy drafts. You could add a couple other guys in there. Bucky Irving, obviously, is one of them, but he might be on a Amon-Ra St. Brown type of career. I think Ladd might even be better than Amon-Ra, which is kind of crazy to say, but these numbers are insane. From weeks 8 to 17, including the playoffs, he was a wide receiver 10, 25% target share, 18 fantasy points per game, which was only second to Jamar Chase. The numbers really do not lie. This dude is for real. He was second in EPA per target and yards per route run. And this is a guy that can beat you all over the field. He is a smaller receiver, but he's not just a slot guy. He can play all over. He can dominate against zone and man. 2.98 yards per route run against man defense, which was the second most among 50 receivers with at least 115 routes. I think Lad is going to be special in this league, and we're already starting to see it. Looking at some of these reception perception numbers, like I said, he can line up everywhere, and he can beat all different type of coverage defenses. And taking a look at his success by route, like what route can this dude not run? Slant? Outside of that, all I see is green. I honestly don't care if LA, continues to run the football. We know they kind of abandoned the run last year. J.K. Dobbins had those big games early on, but after that, when he got hurt, Gus Edwards didn't really do much. So they did throw more. Najee Harris is in town. They have Hampton now, the rookie running back. But even the addition of wide receiver Trey Harris, I don't think it matters. McConkey should easily clear 100 receptions, which we love in PPR. The only concern I have with Lad is his size, is his durability. If he can stay healthy, he definitely, no doubt about it, has top 5 upside at the position this year. I have no problem whatsoever drafting this guy in round 2. On to the next receiver, Rome Odunze. I think something that a lot of people don't talk about is he suffered that grade 1 MCL sprain in his left knee in week 1. And while he did play through it, a lot of people didn't hear about it. But there's no way that it didn't affect him, right? He looked fine, but I'm sure it was something that was nagging him for majority of the year. But the bigger issue, obviously, was the entire Bears offense, from the quarterback play to the play calling to the offensive line. It was all horrible. On top of being the third option behind DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, it was a low volume offense. If you watch them, they could not sustain drives. They punted often. It was rough. And I still think he had a solid year, everything considered. And now you insert that wizard of an offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, who's now the Bears head coach. He will be calling the plays, a completely revamped offensive line. They got a bunch of studs to protect Caleb, to give him more time, so he's not running for his life every single play like he was in year 1. We know Keenan Allen is gone. Odunze is going to be the clear-cut number 2 target in this passing attack. He is going to be special. We know he has a talent. He was a top 10 pick in 2024. And he's going to thrive at that X receiver in what figures to be a much improved unit. According to Reception Perception, Odunze posted a 78.7% success rate against press coverage, which was the 87th percentile, third among second-year receivers behind only Lad and Brian Thomas Jr. I am taking Rome every single day of the week in round 7, round 8. If you can get him in round 9, that would be insane value. I don't think there's a better pick right now in that range. Do not be sleeping on Odunze. Moving on to another guy that I love. I talked about him all last offseason before the 2024 season started, and that's Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is definitely a different player the second half of the year. From weeks 9 to 16, he averaged 21.8 fantasy points per game and was the wide receiver 2 behind only Jamar Chase. And that includes that phenomenal game against the Rams in week 9, 7 catches for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I think that game was a major turning point for JSN in this offense. Seattle finally realized that they should probably run their passing game through him. DK Metcalf is a nice player, but give me Jackson at this point in their careers. And they started to finally use him correctly. Take some shots downfield. His ADOT still was fairly low, but from week 10 on, he led all receivers with 4.56 yards per route run versus man coverage. They have a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, who loves to throw the football downfield. So that ADOT that I just talked about should increase from what it was last year, 9.2 yards. It's going to be much higher. We know DK Metcalf is gone. Tyler Lockett's gone. Geno Smith is gone. You insert 32-year-old Cooper Kupp, who I like, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy over these last couple of years. And outside of Kupp, look at this depth chart. They have no one. MVS, Noah Fant, Jake Bobo. There's no threat whatsoever to JSN's target share. He's going to eat in this offense with Sam Darnold. And it's going to be interesting to see, though, who takes the majority of the snaps from the slot. My guess is that JSN works on the outside, perimeter, downfield, and that's actually his strength. Just go back to his OSU tape in 2021, where he had a phenomenal year, 95 receptions, 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns, and that was alongside Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Marvin Harrison Jr. as teammates. But a lot of his big plays were downfield. That's where he thrives, and I think Kubiak is finally going to use him in that area, especially because Cooper Kupp is most likely going to be in the slot. And I have no concerns about Sam Darnold. Like, he impressed last year in Minnesota. Yes, he was in a great system. Yes, he had a future Hall of Fame receiver in Justin Jefferson, but I still think he deserves some credit. I think Jackson will easily lead the Seattle receiving corps in all major receiving categories. And if something were to ever happen to Cooper Kupp, JSN has wide receiver 1 overall upside. Let's call it right now. He is my dark horse to finish as the wide receiver 1 overall. Like, it would just not shock me at all. That's all I have for you guys. I really appreciate you watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.